All right, I got a 53-year-old and a 52-year-old couple asking the question, how can we pay less taxes in retirement? That's the strategy that we're going to look at today. And this strategy is going to help you pay less taxes in retirement. I hope this can be a strategy you can implement on your end. Look at your retirement savings and ask the question, how can we or how can I lower the taxes in my retirement? That's exactly what we're going to go through today here on the Your Financial EKG YouTube channel. Let's get into it right now to see how Peter and Rhonda can lower their taxes. So here we go. We got Peter and Rhonda, and they're 53 and 52 years old. And Peter makes $150,000 a year and Rhonda makes $120,000 a year. So they have a combined income of $270,000. Now they live in Illinois, so they're in a higher tax state. They've got a higher current income tax, and we need to look at ways that we can lower their taxes in retirement. There's not a lot that we can do currently, but what can we do for the future? Because the question you always have to ask yourself is, am I going to be in the same tax bracket today that I'm going to be in retirement? So what can I do now to lower taxes? And what strategies can I do in the future to lower taxes as well? Now, we're going to look at a retirement age of 60 and 59. That's just when they want to work till. Now, we can adjust this as needed, but for the present moment, we're going to do 60 and 59. Now, Peter and Rhonda are both going to take Social Security at 67. Now, they're both going to have right about the same amount. We're just kind of giving an estimation on Social Security at this point. But keep in mind this, if you take Social Security at 67 and you're born after the year 1960, you're going to get 100% of your full retirement benefit. If you take it at 68, 69, or 70, you'll get an 8% increase per year, up to 124% increase at 70. Now, if you take Social Security at 62, 63, 64, 65, or 66, you get a reduced benefit. At 62, it's only 70%, but you need to make a strategy for your Social Security because your Social Security claiming strategy should be based on you and your family. Now, for Peter and Rhonda, it's going to be at 67. So we want to try to push this as far as possible. And this is something that we're going to look at on an annual basis. So as we're doing our quarterly and annual reviews together, we might say, hey guys, the market's doing really good. Your retirement income coming out is not depleting your assets is what we thought. Let's push Social Security another year. It doesn't hurt. You can claim it at any month you want between the ages of 62 and 70. It doesn't make sense to do it after 70, but why not review it with your advisor on an annual and quarterly basis? And if your advisor is not reviewing your Social Security strategy, at least annually, you need to ask yourself why. And you'd like to meet with me to review your Social Security strategy, to go through your financial EKG. All the information to do that is in the description below. All right, so no pensions at this point, or ever. We're not going to have any pensions. Assets, we're going to focus on two main asset accounts, these two right here. We've got $200,000 in a 401k for Peter. We've got $10,000 in a TSP for Rhonda, and we've got $450,000 in an IRA. Now, what I want to focus on for the next few minutes are these two accounts. So Peter is putting in $2,200 a month into his 401k. Rhonda's putting $2,200 a month into her TSP. That's pre-tax money. It's not Roth 401k, it's pre-tax money, meaning it's going into IRA style investments. When they pull the money out, they're going to pay taxes dollar for dollar. And when they get to 75, they're going to have to take out a required minimum distribution. A required minimum distribution is just the government's way of saying, hey, you are required to pull money out of any tax-deferred investments, IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, anything that you've been deferring taxes on. You got to start taking money out of this account. It starts at 3.77% and it goes up from there. So we're looking at this and saying, okay, how can we save on taxes now? Okay, now. Well, let's go to taxes real quick. So currently, for the year 2023, we're in the 14.90% effective tax rate. There's a difference between your tax bracket and your tax rate. Your tax bracket is where your income falls. Your tax rate is where what the actual taxes you pay after deductions, contributions, credits, all that good stuff. So for them, their wages are $270,000 a year. That's their income. Their qualified contributions, this is the money they're putting into their 401k and into their TSP, is $52,992, about $53,000. We've got some 1099 interest, and there's our gross income, $218,000. We have a deduction of $27,700. That's a married filing jointly deduction. It's half of that if you're single. So their taxable income is $190,000. So if you look over here, the 22% bracket, their income between $89,450 and $190,000 is 22%. Remember, we have a progressive tax code. And what that means is your income is taxed in levels. All of their income, all $190,000 is not taxed at 22%. You've got this 0 to 22% first, or 22,000 first. You have 22,000 to 89,000, 89,000 to 190. And so that's where they're falling. Now, as you can see, it's 197.50. Their taxable income is $193.12. So only about $400 more, and we're jumping into the next bracket on income in that level, okay? Keep in mind, if they have a mutual fund that has a capital gain, if they have a little bit more interest in their bank accounts, whatever, they're probably going to push that portion of their income into the 24% bracket. So the question is, how do we lower taxes in retirement? Well, as an advisor, I look at it and say, well, can we lower taxes now too? So for them, it makes the most sense to keep putting money into pre-tax, not to put money into Roth. Let me show you why. Let's go back to assets. And let's look at Peter here. So he's got $2,208 that's going into a pre-tax. So he's getting a deduction for that money. He's not paying taxes on it. It's not showing up on his tax return. But what if we took that to zero? Meaning now he's putting that money into a Roth 401k instead of into his pre-tax 401k. We go over to taxes and we've jumped up, and look at this, we've jumped into that 24% bracket because now our taxable income is $216, not $190. So that means between $216 and $190, that's 60, it's $26,000 is getting taxed in that 24% bracket because we changed how we do our contributions. Make sense? I hope so. Okay, so here's what we got. We want to keep that at $2,200 for tax efficiency today. But we also need to look at taxes in the future. Now, the way we do that is we go back to our taxes, and I want to focus on taxes because taxes are so important. Taxes are going to go up. The elephant in the room is we have $33 trillion in debt. We have Social Security and Medicare that can't pay for themselves. We're going to have to raise taxes. And so you need to have a tax plan. Not just a willy-nilly, I'm going to do a conversion here and there. You need a tax plan for what are you going to do at 70 and 80 and 90 when taxes are going up. How is that going to help you to have all this taxable money? What are we going to do? So we need to look at that. So what we can do is we can ask ourselves, are our taxes today going to be higher or lower than taxes in the future? So for them, their wages are $270,000 today. They're going to retire in 7 years. So let's go to retirement. Let's go 7 to 7 years from now, which is 60 and 59. Let's go to how much they have to take out of their retirement investments, which is $8,983. So what we can easily do is just break this down per year. And we can go, okay, federal gross income is going to be $107,558. $270 today versus $107 in the future. That's a big difference. So their taxes are probably going to be lower. Now, this standard deduction here, which is $27,700, is not going to be around. This is under the Trump tax code, which expires in a couple years. So we need to be looking at this and asking ourselves, if taxes are going to be lower, should we do conversions later? Now, what are tax strategies that we can do to help lower taxes in retirement? That was their question. Now, let's go back to the question I always like to answer is, can I retire, right? Can I retire at 60? They'll have $2.2 million at that point. The easy answer, yes, they can. At 100 and 101, they'd have $1.7 million. You can see this simply. Here's Social Security, kick it on, and boom, here they are, never running out of money. They got a $1.3 million house, so 1.7 in retirement assets. They're in a good place. So that's not the question. The question is, how can these people lower the taxes? And that's what we're looking at. So now let's go to a different strategy. Actually, let me show you something first. So don't pay attention to this side over here. Do not look at this side. I see you looking at this side. Don't look over here. So we're concentrating on this current scenario. We've got 1.9 in total assets. That's the 1.1 plus the $800,000 house. Current monthly expenses are $7,000, and those are going to continue in perpetuity. So our lifetime taxation from today at 53 to 100, so 47 years of taxes, their lifetime taxation is going to be $1.9 million. Their legacy is 1.7 to their kids. What we're going to look at is, can we save on taxes? Because I'll give you a little peek here. 1.9 versus 1.2. Which one's less? I think 1.2 is less. Now, let me look at this. Legacy funds, meaning how much their kids are going to get at 100. 1.7 versus 3.4. Which one's higher? So we pay less taxes, have more money, or pay more taxes, have less money. You choose the strategy that you want. All right, let's look at that. Let's look at the tax strategy. So we'll go to scenarios. We go to the tax strategy here. So here we go. Again, we're 53, 52 years old, asking the question, how can we pay less taxes in retirement? We've got $1.1 million in retirement savings, and we're looking for tax saving strategies. So we've got $150,000 for Peter in income and $120,000 for Rhonda. So that's $270,000 in income. We live in Illinois. Now, move to Florida if you want to lower your taxes from a state standpoint, but we're still in Illinois. Our kids are in Illinois. They're Cubs fans, right? I got some Cubs on the wall back here. You can't see it. So they're Cubs fans. We get along well. And so they're probably not leaving Illinois. We're going to stake Social Security at 67, which is $3,500 for Social Security. Now, from an asset standpoint, I want you to notice something. We've added in Roth conversion accounts. Because here's what we're going to do. We're going to start looking at doing Roth conversions. Now, a Roth conversion is simply moving money from your IRA, your 401k, your TSP, or your 403b into a Roth IRA, and you pay taxes in the year that you move the money from the pre-tax to the post-tax. Now, the benefit is all the money in the Roth IRA grows tax-free, so it's tax-free retirement income. But you got to wait 5 years. So if you do it in 2023, you got to wait till 2029 before you can touch that money without penalty, which is why we have multiple Roth conversion accounts set up. So my tip to people is, listen, if you're doing Roth conversions, let's say you want to do 5 years of Roth conversions, set up 5 specific accounts for those conversions to go into so you can keep up with the 5-year rule for each account. So 2023, we can't touch this money till 2029. 2024, we can't touch it until 2030, and so on and so forth. Now, once we get to the last conversion, we've met the 5-year rule, just combine them. That way you've got them all in one place again. Makes it easy. But it takes a little bit of strategy, right? And your advisor needs to be talking to you about this. Or call me, and we'll talk about it. All right, so here's what we're looking at. I want to show you the conversions first. So we're going to do 7 years of a Roth conversion for Rhonda, and we're going to do $51,140. And the reason we're going to do $51,140, it's not just a number we pulled out of thin air. I want to show you why we're going to do $51,140. We go back to taxes. This is why taxes are so important. I always tell people, when you meet with me, I'm always going to ask you about taxes. And a lot of times I want to see your 1040. And people are like, why do you want to see my tax return? Because that's the blood work to your health care, right? Like when you go to the doctor and he looks at you, for the most part, he can't look at you and say, oh man, you've got high cholesterol, or oh, you've got some abnormalities in your white blood cell count. But when he does blood work, he can see all that. Like for them, they've got $1.1 million. They're going to have about 2.2 when they get to retirement. That looks great, but their taxes, they tell a different story. And so that's what we want to look at. That's their blood work. That's why the financial EKG is so very important. Whether you're looking at it for just a roadmap or you want a relationship for the rest of your retirement, we want to put one together for you. Again, the description, we've got everything in there for you. So here's what we've got. Let's go back over here to this side. Wages are $270. Qualified contributions are $52,992, about $53,000. We got $1,000 in 1099 interest. You see this other here? This is that Roth conversion. You see how this 52 and this 51 kind of wash each other out? I said wash, we're in the South. We're kind of washing each other out. So that means basically The qualified contribution that we're putting into our 401k and our TSP is allowing us to do a conversion on money from IRA to Roth, and we're wiping that money out. So we're not having to pay extra taxes. Now, they have a bucket of cash we're going to use to pay taxes, but we're able to not increase our taxes by doing the Roth conversions. And so what's really cool about this is, look at this. You go to retirement, essentially they've got $2.1 million when they retire. We've got 3.4 at 100. This is great. And we go to reports and print, and we go back to what I was showing you. Look at this. We've got 3.4 million by doing the Roth conversion strategy. We've paid 1.2 million in lifetime taxation, so 53 to 100. So we got more money, less taxes than we did if we kept it like it was. So you see how easy this is? To just look at your strategy and say, what makes the most sense for me in my family? Not necessarily a Forbes article that tells you to do a Roth conversion. It's what makes the most sense for Peter and Rhonda, and what makes the most sense for you. Thank you so much for watching today. God bless. Bye-bye.